Hey folks, new computer, so obviously a better video this time. Also, I was just reviewing a little bit of the last episode that I did, and something I didn't capture in the combat they had with the Wave Priest party was that the Ranger um, ended up getting hurt really bad. He was under. He was making death saving throws. I remember he had 2 misses and 2 saves, but I don't remember what his last roll was. Um, but in retrospect, also, he's a wood elf. So even with just the obscurity of the tall grass, he would have been able to hide. So he should have survived. Well, with now episode 4, the party heads on down to barge right in. They carry the ranger with them. The player for the ranger wasn't able to make it, so if the ranger's dead, they're going to turn him there. If he's still alive, then he's there recovering at the end. I also had my best friend Ed come out from Utah. He's a professor at BYU there, and he had a a conference down in Richmond. So I went down and picked him up for the weekend, and he had to come and play. It was a lot of fun. So he was running a Dro Swashbuckler, the pre-gen guys. And he's there at the barge right in. And when the party comes in, they see him. The two Dros kind of look at each other, start some conversation. My buddy Ed doesn't really play a lot. He's a DM much more of the time. And since he doesn't get a lot of time to play, he actually likes to role play. And so he takes on he takes on the perspective on his player on why are we together? Why should I join you? That kind of stuff. So there's some interaction between players, PCs, bantering back and forth on actually getting the party all together. But it all works out in the end. And he decides, yeah, I can work with these guys. So next day they get ready to take off and go on the barbarian's vision quest, trying to get him a totem. So they head north and get to Summit Hall, where they spend the night. But just before they get to the Summit Hall, they run into a caravan of pilgrims who are also going to Summit Hall. So they travel together the last league or so. And when they get there, the priest grabs the warlock, who's the party leader, and pulls her aside and says, "Hey, you want to go talk with the mistress of the keep? I'm heading there myself right now." Sure, yeah. So they go in together. There's some adventure hooks with Summit Hall that the players at this time do not have. So not a whole lot happens at that meeting. Just some general banter about what's happening in the world, what you're doing here, that kind of thing. Next day, they head off cross country, heading straight east towards the high forest. On the way there, they run into some wolves, take them out without too much difficulty. They get to the forest, camp for the night. Next day, they start wandering around. How do we find these barbarians? I don't know. We wander around until we run into some. So what do I use for the high forest? I borrowed the Sylvan encounter example table from the Dungeon Master's Guide, which fit pretty well. I just replaced the gnolls and the elves with these barbarians. So they wander around, and there's like a 15% chance of an encounter. 4 encounter chances per day. That's close to 60%. They should run into something, right? I was rolling low. It took them like 3 days before they finally found somebody that could help them out. The first encounter they had was with a satyr who, with his pipes, tried to charm the party, take him back home, have a party. But a couple of them made their saving throws, and they started, questioning him, what's he doing here, that kind of thing. And so he starts to get concerned, and so he tries to do the little fear thing. Only one fails their saving throws, so he takes off, and with that lack of progress, the satyr just takes off as well. The next night, I think it is, during the first watch, there's a fairy dragon who shows up, tries to use his breath weapon a couple times to goof people up, and does the dancing lights out of the distance to get them to wander around. And nothing really seems to be panning out for him either, so he's not having any fun. He takes off. Next day, they run into a treant, and the treant is interested in Fey folk, and they got the two dark elves there, but he kind of forgets them. Why are you so dark? So they ask the treant, hey, do you know where these tree ghost barbarians are? Yeah, I know where they are. It's like he leads them off. Follow me. Boom, 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 and he goes over to find a camp out where they are. They when they get there, the barbarians kind of hold them off. Say, what's this party doing? What are these people doing? What they want? That kind of thing. And the barbarian explains that he is without a tribe, and he feels an affinity with the bear, and he's looking to find a totem and get a spiritual journey kind of thing. And the tribe pulls the shaman out. The shaman comes over and speaks to them for a bit and says, "Hey, come with me." So they go to a sweat lodge and they sit there and he discusses spirit journeys and totems and some of the stuff about the bear specifically. And he's putting some herbs onto the fire and had the barbarian make a couple of Constitution saving throws. He makes the first couple, but on the third one he fails, and so he passes out. As he's laying, when he passes out, he goes on his spirit journey. So when he wakes up, he's on a hillside or a mountainside, sparse forest, and he's on a trail. Goes up or goes down. He decides to go up. So he goes up the trail, a couple perception rolls. Eventually he hears something. The bear comes out of the woods. Make a reaction roll for the bear. The bear decides straight out attack. So the bear attacks. He misses a few times, and the barbarian ends up getting a critical hit after a couple rounds. So that was enough to kill the bear. So he cleaves the bear's skull in half, and as the body sloughs off the spirit of the bear stands up on his paws and puts his paws on his shoulders, says, "You are brave, you are strong, we shall be one." And so he gets his spirit totem. And next morning, the party wakes up and they find the barbarian just laying out in the middle of the clearing there. They have breakfast and they take off. No one encounters on the way out of the forest. No one encounters cross country. They get to Summit Hall. Summit Hall, they go south and go back to the barge right in. Spend the night there, and they head northwest back to Red Larch. They got to pick up the paladin, and they decide they're going to check out this lady who sent them on the Trickle Rock adventure that turned out to be an ambush. They had forgot about this once before, so I was hoping they actually forget about it again. But they had reminisced about some of the things going on, and my buddy Ed, his character said, "Well, shoot, this lady set you up for an ambush." So they get this in their head that that's what happened, and they get back to town, get the barbarian, they go to the inn. The warlock does some minor illusion stuff, saying, "Has anybody seen this lady? We're trying to find her. She sent us off to Trickle Rock. We wanted to, give her some feedback on the adventure." And she's a prominent member of the society there, so yeah, that's old Madge down the quarry. She runs the quarry. That's north of town. So they head north of town and get to the quarry. She's in her office. They come in and they just flat out confront her. "Why'd you send us out there? Why'd you send assassins? Why'd you try to kill us?" So she starts to freak out. I mean, she actually wasn't expecting them to come back. I mean, it had been days they've been gone. She figured the assassination worked. So she's, denies everything. "What are you talking about? I just, everybody knows about the treasure in Trickle Rock. Just, nobody's brave enough to go out there." So she's getting stressed. The drow doesn't trust anybody, so he rolls insight. Looks at her, looks at the warlock, and says, "She's lying." And so the warlock says, "Okay, let's get her." And the drow, the swashbuckler, pulls out his rapier. She freaks out. She backs up, opens the side door, yells for her men to come up. The party convinces the swashbuckler not to kill her, so he uses subdual damage. Whacks her on the back of the head with the hilt of his rapier. Does 13 points of damage. Madge only had 6 hit points. So even his subdual, that's more than her hit points negative. And that's an outright kill. So crack her skull or something. So she collapses to the ground. The barbarian picks her up, throws her over his shoulder. and they're trying to just figure out what they're going to do when they see all these workers. There's 5 of them come running up the hill towards the building. So the barbarian drops the body, rages, and runs out of the building. The rest of the party starts freaking out. The swashbuckler is rifling through stuff trying to find some cash. Somebody's hiding in the corner. Somebody else is looking, opening the door, looking in the rest of the rooms. And the barbarian's out there in the middle of combat, or so he thinks. The workers actually are just at this point, seeing this huge half-orc barbarian with this bear cloak thing all over him with claws and a head, and come running out of the building. They just freak out. They've, thinking afterwards, they probably figured it was a bugbear. So they freak out and they split. They're scattering. They're screaming. They're running. I did not tell the party that. I should have. That's one of the things I learned from this one is when opponents freak out and split. You can tell that because they're all trying to figure out what are these workers trying to do. They're going around the building on both sides. They're trying to come around from the back and try and get us from the rear kind of thing, or what. And the barbarian's out there all by himself. He's like, guys, what's going on? So he drops his rage and he gets all upset that the party wasn't following through and they left him out to dry it again. This has happened before, I just don't recall. So the workers start running down the road screaming, murder, murder, murder. On second thought, they wouldn't have known that Match was dead. I mean, they could have assumed that. But seeing, a bugbear come running out after him, I can see them running down the road yelling, monster, monster, monster. So the end effect is still pretty much the same. They're making a spectacle, running down the road, heading towards the constables. The warlock runs out the front door, starts chasing after him, screaming the same thing, running in his race kind of thing. It was like she was part of the whole reaction. As they're running down the road, people are coming out of the tavern, people are coming out of the inn, people coming out of businesses, going, "What's going on? What's going on?" They get down to the butcher where where the constable is, and the constable says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And the warlock steps up and says, "Some of the elk clan of the Uthark tribe barbarians attacked the quarry master. So I'm taking off." The constable, I make some die rolls. He buys off on it. So he points out to 5 guys. "Hey, you 5, run down the road. See if you can't track him down. Find what's going on." He says, "Okay, what's going on?" And the workers give their spiel, and the warlock gives her spiel. Well, in the meantime, everybody back at the quarry. Now, they've been in the quarry before because there is a hidden tunnel entrance to the underground temple here. This is the way they came out. So they, actually at this point I had them roll passive perception, or I rolled passive perceptions for them. And the paladin noticed that, I just dead, you ain't breathing. So they start freaking out again, going, "What do we do with the body? What do we do with the body?" So they pick it up and they run into the quarry, and they get into the caves. And they start discussing what they're going to do. Like, chop her up and put her in barrels, or what? That would be a huge mess. And they decide to take her deep into the temple, see if they can find some place to bury her there. So they go through the caves down into the large cavern where they had fought the bandits at the end of their venture there. And nobody asks about the bodies. So I roll passive perceptions. Hey, you guys notice the bodies aren't here. Those 6 barbarians or bandits you killed here, they're gone. So they start freaking out, going, "Oh my goodness, there's zombies here. There's zombies. What are we going to do now?" Then they wander around and they go back through the temple, through the tunnel, through the hallway, underneath the traps, through a couple rooms, into the room with the moving stones. They notice that the stones have moved. They're in a different position now. And they're thinking what they'll do is they'll take her body and they'll dump it in the hole where they had buried the earth priest. What they plan to do with the earth priest body at that point, I don't know. But they go to do that, and the earth priest's body is gone. Now they really start freaking out. This is going to be full of zombies. I had too much fun, I guess, with the necromancer. So they decide what they'll do is, in the back of this room is a secret door that goes to a tunnel up to the Wainwrights. And partway through this tunnel is a section where it's partially collapsed. They had to make some saving throws to get through that without tripping things up. So they figured they'll stage the body there, cause a collapse, and problem solved. So it's late. It's getting near to dark at this point. And so they waited out. They set the body up. They wait till it's really dark. A swashbuckler goes and peeks out the storm cellar. Nobody around, and it's dark. Okay, so they trigger the collapse. Dust everywhere, and they come creeping out. The barbarian and the swashbuckler side, the warlock probably went to her room, so we need to go find her. The fighter and the paladin aren't going to be sneaking around anywhere, so they stay put. The barbarian and the swashbuckler sneak over to the inn. No issues really there because people aren't out at night. They're all locked up. So they get to her room. They start throwing pebbles up at their window. She opens it up, and what's going on? There's a rope down. They climb up, and they start talking, discussing what happened, what's going on, and what do we do next? And they finally decide that they're going to split town. So they climb back down the rope. The warlock sends her imp up to untie the rope and bring it down, and they head over to the Wainwrights, pick up the barbarian and the paladin, and they head out of town. They camp out there. The next day, they get up and hit the barge right in. While this was going on, the paladin, who had previously been dealing with the Storm Priest, who's a member of the Gauntlet, and has been the Storm Priest has been eyeballing the paladin, even though he is a half orc. From the story of their attacking and destroying the necromancer, he goes, "Hey, maybe this is a guy I can work with." And so he tells him about the Gauntlet. And he's spying him out for membership. But he tells him about something that he's interested in, but is not able to go check out. The other Gauntlet had a knight who had passed away, and his body was being brought south to Summit Hall. That's where they're going to inter him. It was part of a delegation that came from Mirabar. I was heading down to Waterdeep. They never got to Summit Hall. He understands that they got to Beleriage, which is a town just north of that. So if the paladin can check that out, that might be a good thing. So the party decides, well, that's the only real lead we have at this point, something to do, because we just left all of our leads behind in town. Because in Rad Larch, there's two sets of rumors and hooks. The first set is for the pre-adventure stuff that the party's been doing to get them up to 3rd level. All the rest of it has to do directly with the elemental evil in the temples and stuff. Now they don't have any access to any of it. So they head, after they spend the night at the barge right in, they head north to Summit Hall. They talk with the mistress there, and Paladin explains that he is searching for this nice body and understands that the delegation never got this far. And she says, yes, it was about 10 days ago. They were supposed to appear, but they didn't. So I sent my knights out, and they went north, searching, and they couldn't find anything. They were able to find they were at Beleriad, the town, and they went south. But somewhere between here and there, they disappeared, and we couldn't find anything. So party spends the night. Next day, they head north, trek along the trail and keep an eyes out for stuff. And about halfway up the road, they notice off to the west a flock of buzzards just circling around. And that seems really odd. So they go over and check it out. And they go off the road about 2 miles, maybe more. And they come across this combat scene. There's dead dwarven bodies, dead bodies wearing the Mirabar surcoat, laying all over the place. A couple of wagons, a chest, a couple of rock cairns that were quickly thrown together, and so they start searching around what's going on. There's nothing really there. They uncover the cairns. There's 5 bugbears in one, and the bugbears on their surcoat have another symbol they hadn't seen before. It was similar to the other 2 they found, but it's not the same. And then they by the other cairn, which had a earth monk in it with a gold mask and his robes. So they decide to strip that body. They figure they might be able to use the mask and the robes to infiltrate something later on. So they snag those and then they search around. Swashbuckler finds a trail that the bugbears left going down west. So they follow it down and it goes down to the river. So it's a trail going up and down. The bugbears landed here because there's actually skid marks from the keel boats there, and they went up, made their attack, and came back down. Trying to figure out why were the buzzards not chowing down on the bodies. In fact, the bodies, while they're decomposing, weren't infested with insects either. Now, the scenario specifically says that the buzzards are flying around because they're weary of this earth magic that's been cast in this area. There were some pock marks and stuff around that they saw as well. I just extrapolated that to be for the insects as well. Made sense. So they're kind of, what is going on with the buzzards? Why are they not eating the bodies? And why are there no insects either? And a troop of bugbears comes up here, wipes these guys out. How'd they know they were going to be here? Why was the delegation here? Why were they off the trail? What's going on with that? And while they're down at the river edge discussing this, they're going, okay, do we need to go upstream or downstream? Which way did the bugbears go? A barge, a keel boat, is coming upstream. They're just standard merchants. And that's kind of where we ended. We ran out of time. A couple of things about this part of the scenario. The Order of the Gauntlet's knight's body. The scenario doesn't say that it's there. Without me thinking, it told him, no, there's nothing there. The body's not there? No, the body is not there. Where did the body go? The bugbears wouldn't have taken the body anywhere. The body should have been there still. So I'm going to have to read through and see if there was some reason the bugbears actually took the body. There may be something in there. I just need to read up on it. Or I'm just going to have to find, where they dumped the body eventually or something. Yeah, that's a mess. Another thing, the Tree Ghost Clan. I was able to look up online that the Tree Ghost Clan had broken off from the Blue Bear Clan. So there's some solid bear connection there. So that makes a little more sense, or at least gives some stability to the sense that they help the barbarian with his bear totem. I was able to find out. I was actually at Barnes & Noble the day after we played, and they had a copy of the Sword Coast Adventures Guide there, and I flipped through there, and sure enough, it says that the totem for the Tree Ghost Clan is a bear. So that was good. Turned out to be a good call on my part. Actually, I think that's about it. But if you have any comments or any questions, go ahead and send them. Obviously, my first intent for these videos is for myself to go over the scenario and critique myself and postulate answers to questions, that kind of thing. But another piece of this is to share with other game masters and stuff on how we can make our own scenarios, adventures, world better, bouncing ideas off each other, that kind of thing. So this is my perspective on our play. I hope it helps somebody. It's been helping me keep track of my guys and my story. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.